Hey guys, what's up? This is week 68. I have some reviews for you, so let's hop into this. This first one is Bound by the Wachowski, at the time brothers, no longer brothers, I guess sisters now, but from Olive Films. This is one of their signature releases, so it's they're more beefed up editions. I had never seen this. I had heard about it for years. I had actually bought the Arrow release, but hadn't had a chance to watch it. Behind like all these like kind of blockbuster directors, or directors that became like bigger directors, the Wachowskis obviously did the Matrix series, V for Vendetta, Jupiter Ascending. So like behind all these guys, including like Michael Bay, everybody like that, there's like this really well made, like borderline cult film with really good performances in there that got him the money to make something, that gave him that big push. And this is what Bound is. Bound follows a story. It's a neo-noir that follows the story of Gina Gershon and Jennifer Tilly, who have this lesbian relationship. It's kind of it's secretive. Jennifer Tilly is the girlfriend of a mobster played by Joey Pantaleone, or Joey Pants is what everybody calls him. And Gina Gershon is released from prison, and she's working on this house next door, and she gets involved with Jennifer Tilly. And she and Jennifer Tilly decide to do this plan to steal a bunch of money, that laundered money. Of course, things don't go necessarily as planned. The plot is kind of straightforward, except that it's a little bit different, and it's typical, except that it has the lesbian love angle in there, which is really makes it unique. The lesbian like sex scenes in this are pretty intense, pretty erotic, and really well done. In fact, this movie is shot very well. It's completely done in all these different kind of unique ways. The way it's edited, it plays with time to like speed up scenes and do it completely unorthodox. They'll be talking about what they're going to do and how they're going to do their plan, and it will be showing it, but then it is in real time, so it's cutting back and forth and whatnot. It's actually really clever. The performances are all top-notch by the three leads. They're amazing, especially Joey Pants. To watch him realize that he's going to be screwed over by somebody, and he doesn't, he blames somebody else, and just his whole performance, his whole meltdown is amazing. I don't want to give too much away about the movie, except that it's very sexual, and it's the chemistry between all the actors and actresses is tremendous in this movie. And I love the fact that they got some character actors, or some future character actors, just some kind of a really good, strong supporting character actors in this movie, including like John P. Ryan from the It's Alive films, and a bunch of other class of 1999. Tons of movies. Love John P. Ryan. Christopher Maloney, early role. He's tremendous in this movie. Peter Spellos from The Guyver. And there's somebody else that I'm missing off the top of my head in here. But yeah, it's just really a top-notch cast, really well acted, really well shot. Like I said, it's very unique. It's visually, it's great looking movie, and they set up everything well. It all pays off. The Wachowskis, I guess, were they wrote a lot of scripts before this, and the story how they got this made is actually really good. Dino De Laurentiis produced it, and he's a crazy guy. He's a big, larger than life character. They talk about this in all the special features. There is a commentary with everybody included. And everybody's like running in, like through halfway, the commentary's halfway over, and somebody will run in, like Joey Pants will come in, and then like Jennifer Tilly will come in. It's pretty cool. There's interviews with the making of, with like the editor and the music guy and Jennifer Tilly, and there's an interview on here with Christopher Maloney. It seems like all the stuff from the Arrow releases on here, except the interview with Joey Pantaleone, which is kind of a shame, but everything else is ported over, and it's some red shirt pictures, Michael Felsher, so it's quality stuff. It looks good, it sounds good, it's just an amazingly well-made movie, like a neo-noir with some different touches about it, and it's great to see Jennifer Tilly in this movie kind of manipulate everybody. But I love the characters, I love the setup, I love the payoff. It's just a really good crime film. It's great stuff, actually. Nice release from Olive, and I would recommend checking it out.
Welcome to the family. You're amongst good people here.
Salud, huh?
Shelley was skimming from the business.
So Caesar's Mafia, huh?
We make our own choices. We pay our own prices.
But I like you here. I want you to stay.
I've been thinking about you all day. All night long, I listen to that sound.
What sound?
The sound of money. I want out. I can't do it alone.
I have an idea how to make this work. Go back and get ready. Take your time, make it real. I'll get the money.
What if he sees you?
Then I won't have a choice, will I?
I want a new life.
You don't quit on me, Violet. I won't quit on you.
You were nothing before you met me.
You are as radiant as ever, Violet.
What did she do to you?
Everything you couldn't.
The next one here is from Seijun Films. This is Horror at Party Beach. Made in '64. This is actually technically a zombie movie that predates Night of the Living Dead, where they eat flesh. Believe it or not, it's kind of true. Some toxic waste falls in the ocean, and it mixes in with this sunken ship and all its people that died in there, and they come back as these hot dog mouth-filled creatures. I'm not kidding. That basically rip and tear apart girls, and mostly girls, and whoever they come in contact with. Of course, it's pretty much girls in the movie. That's basically the plot of the movie, but it's also a musical. It's goofy, it's stupid, it's very Herschel Gordon Lewis in a kind of way, but for some reason I never got the point where they were just like hurry up, make this cheap piece of crap, let's get it out and let's make some money. I feel like they actually went out and tried to make something fun. They tried to make something that they thought they would enjoy themselves and while having a good time as well, and it has, surprisingly, it's pretty gory for 1964. It also feels a lot like Humanoids from the Deep, predates that kind of stuff, but there's all these movies like Creatures Coming from the Sea, but it's definitely like it's kind of ahead of its time, which is very shocking. I mean, it was made a year after Blood Feast, and it has this gore and whatnot in there, so it's really cool. The features on here I was actually really happy with. The Return to Party Beach, a retrospective, which was nice. It also has an interview with Tim Sullivan, who talks about, like schlocky movies and whatnot. And he also compares it to Herschel Gordon Lewis, and it does really feel like one. And the musical numbers are cheesy and they're fun, and this movie feels very self-aware that it is a little bit silly, that it is, having fun with itself. And I actually really like that, to be honest. I think it's really cool. And it looks really good. It sounds good. It's completely uncut for the first time. There's an interview with the director on here as well. It looks like it was ported over from the old Dark Sky edition. But this one's a surprise. Like, I don't typically like movies like this. I'm not big into the beach party movies and whatnot. It's a beach party horror movie, and it never really dulls down. There's a decent amount of atmosphere. There's fog, and the creatures, they don't look great, but they work, and it's just super cheese-tastic and fun. And I think if you can let yourself, your brain, down a little bit to your guard, I think you'll enjoy yourself.
I think that was the charm of the film. It was very funny. I think we used Bosco for blood.
And in music, you're playing or writing. It's all about having some fun doing it.
Everybody do the zombie style. You slam the foot down with an awful sound.
Well, I always felt that horror films are to cinema what rock and roll is to music.
And we heard the screaming and yelling, "You SOB, Tenney, what have you done?"
Johnny, I never let anyone kiss me like this before.
My name's not Johnny.
The next one here is Detective Bureau 2-3. Go to hell, bastards. This is a Seijun Suzuki movie. He did a bunch of stuff that I reviewed recently, and this one is a little unique. The release itself is a little short on features. It has one interview with kind of like a film scholar who knew the director and knew a lot of the movies from the time. He does a decent amount of insight. He doesn't even seem to be too thrilled with this one, but it's interesting nonetheless. But the movie basically follows this special detective bureau, this special detective who gets involved with the police force. There's to find out this secret gang that is screwing over with the other two gangs, and that's basically the plot of the movie. He infiltrates this kind of secret gang with the help of the police detective, and he kind of has to survive and figure out how to stop them and figure out who's in the top of the thing, who's at the top of this gang. What's fun is there's plenty of action. The lead guy is pretty charming. But it's kind of a forgettable movie, to be honest. It's completely fine. It has moments of comedy. It has moments of action. And to be honest, this movie really reminded me of Dick Tracy. Almost like Warren Beatty Betty had seen this movie. The whole end setup, the whole party scene, the whole lead guy getting trapped down in this attic and having to get out. It really feels like Dick Tracy, I'm not going to lie. I love Dick Tracy, and I like those parts too. I think the performances are pretty good. Like I said, the lead has charisma, and it's a fairly decent movie. I like that they're pitting the two gangs against each other and keep exploiting the gangs. It's a fun movie. I wouldn't like highly recommend checking it out. If you do like the crime films from Japan in the 60s, it is well worth checking out. It's not as seriously toned as some of those, and it's definitely not as serious toned as the Yakuza movies from the 70s. And I love how they call them Yakuza in this movie, but as the guy who did the film scholar pointed out, is like they had guns. They didn't use swords, but they did use swords. I don't know. There's a couple with guns, but he kind of didn't seem like he kind of was a little dismissive of this one, but I thought it was fun. He's the expert. I haven't seen as many as him, so I don't have like the deep knowledge that he does. But I think this one was pretty decent and fun, and it seemed like they were trying to do a series here. Unfortunately, this is the only one in there. But if you like this kind of stuff, I would check it out. It's kind of fun.
Japan is famously gun-free. It's extremely exceptional to have guns anywhere in Japan, which is why Yakuza on the whole fight with swords and knives.
The next one here is by Albert Pyun. This is the MVD Marquee Collection. This is Crazy Six. The cast in this movie is nonsense. It's Rob Lowe, Burt Reynolds, Ice-T, and Mario Van Peebles. Not to mention Tom Matthews is in it as well, who appeared in Blast, was by Albert Pyun, which is the previous one. And I was like, okay, I definitely want to watch this for good old Burt Reynolds. You can't go wrong with Burt, all right? So I'm watching this, and I'm like, this movie is really well shot, looks beautiful, and everything like that. And then as I progress, it's like, man, it's just such a weird movie. It takes place in like fallen communism in Russia, and there's all these different groups and factions in the movie. There's all these different gangs. Ice-T runs a gang, Mario Van Peebles runs a gang, Rob Lowe is this crazy junkie who has a gang of his own, and there's kind of like other people involved. Burt Reynolds is this cop that's trying to put him down, and it's just a really, really messy, sloppy movie. Like, there's lots of shootouts, but nobody really gets shot. There's lots of beautiful lit scenes, and there's some decent like singing in it, and Burt Reynolds turns in a good good performance. Mario Van Peebles is an okay performance. Rob Lowe's is a little weak. Ice-T is kind of wasted. Tom Matthews does a solid job, as he always does. But really, Burt Reynolds shines in the movie in the little role that he has. But it's just not much to it. It's sloppily kind of tossed together, and you really don't care about Rob Lowe. He's like this junky character, and they all have, like, a lot of the characters come in, and at one point Burt Reynolds just drops a bunch of knowledge about himself that is unprovoked to do it for no reason, to give his character depth. And it's just like, why is he doing this? But regardless, it just kind of like stumbles into the next scene, and it's really hard to keep your attention. The Blu-ray looks pretty good. There's no subtitles on there, which was kind of disappointing. It looks decent. It sounds decent. It's a very good-looking film, but it's a very messy movie. It's just very incoherent and very kind of hard to grab your attention. I don't really particularly like it, to be honest, but other people may actually enjoy it.
You know my friend here, Mr. Crazy Six?
Crazy Six?
6'1", born in my family.
And you're crazy?
A little bit.
Eastern Europe. Communism is dead. In its place, opportunity.
I tell you what, little junkie boy, you clean yourself up, maybe I give you some gainful employment.
But with every opportunity,
a big score, real big.
There's risk.
It's going to be a war?
A little bit.
Plutonium.
You get 48 hours. I think maybe some people come look for you, huh?
You have something that belongs to me.
Bro's got my girl. I want you to tell me where Six is. You will tell me.
We all got a death wish.
Anything comes back to me, I come back to you.
Everything will come back.
Things are getting out of hand, even for this place.
Apologize.
I'm sorry.
Not to me, you imbecile. To her.
I got a plan. You want my help?
Rob Lowe, Ice-T, Burt Reynolds.
Let's cut the bullshit.
Oh my God, it's the cops. We're bust. Crazy Six.
Let's do it.
Let's get down.
Okay, guys. The next one here is the Weekly Western.
Let's go.
Why not?
Fill your hand, you son of a bitch!
Say when.
Feel I'm knocking upon heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door.
Hey, kitty, you bastard! It's you and I!
I don't deserve this.
This one is A Reason to Live, A Reason to Die. And you know what's really funny? This is by the director De Anger, and of course that means it has a Ritz Ortolani score. Ritz Ortolani is the best, one of the best. Love the score in this movie, actually. This has James Coburn, Bud Spencer, and of course Telly Savalas, one of the best. It also has a appearance in here by one of the gang, or one of the outlaws from the Revengers, who's in the gang there, the German guy. And this one he also plays kind of a bad guy. So that's really nice to see. This is your typical, this is basically the Dirty Dozen meets the Good, the Bad, and Ugly on a much lower budget than those movies. I love James Coburn. I think he's a great leading man. He's great in this. Telly Savalas, again, kind of comes in for the last 45 minutes, which was kind of his MO in these Italian movies. Like Horror Express, Telly Savalas is like, hey, I'm in the last half and I'm great. Hey, in Violent City, I'm in 20 minutes of this movie and I'm great. And Reason to Live, Reason to Die, he comes in, he's like, hey, I'm in the last 20 minutes of this one and I'm pretty good. So that's basically, the plot of this movie is James Coburn, he basically gave up this military base. This is during the Civil War to the South, and they don't know why he did it, and he's going to be hung. He tells the general or major, I think it's a major because he wants to be a general, that if you let me out here and give me some condemned men, I can get this base back. And that's basically what he does. He takes these 6 guys that are condemned to hang, and another guy that is kind of looked at as a traitor, and he takes them on this suicide mission to basically take over this southern, this military base. It's pretty much impossible. They infiltrate it, and that's basically the plot of the movie. It's fairly well done. The action's good. The condemned men are basically all pretty different, pretty cool, have unique stories. The German guy in here from the Revengers, he's great in this. I think he's pretty good. But James Coburn steals the show as a lead. He's great in it. Him and Bud Spencer going back and forth. They're buddies, and they kind of have this like friendship. I like their interactions together. Telly Savalas is decent in here too. And if you keep your eyes open, you will recognize a young guy, kind of like a good-looking guy with longer hair. He plays a junkie in a couple of the, I believe it's E. coli, Death Walks on High Heels movies. He's in both of those ones. He plays a cop and a junkie in the other one. He's in this movie, which is a surprise to see. But the action's decent. I enjoyed it. I like the gang. I like the group of people. All around, really solid spaghetti western with a great score. It's not the most memorable one. And the funny thing is, I rented this as a kid because I saw Telly Savalas on it when I was like 12. I love The Dirty Dozen. So I was like, oh, it's a man on a mission movie with Telly Savalas. I have to see it. So I rented it, and I got about 20 minutes into it as a 12-year-old with a very, very short attention span, ADHD, and I'm 12. And Telly Savalas wasn't in it yet, and I was like, I paid for a movie with Telly Savalas, so I turned it off. And then years later, the Blu-ray was released, and I was like, that looks very familiar. So when I finally watched it, I was like, yes, I have seen part of this, and I enjoyed it much more this time. But I remembered every detail about it in the first 10 minutes of it, which was very strange. But yeah, good stuff. If you like James Coburn, it's a good movie. And of course, he's got ulterior motives why he wants to take over this base. And it's kind of like Good, Bad, and Ugly because there's supposedly gold buried too. That's how he gets these prisoners to go along with him. Because in these movies, similar to the Cutthroat Nines, you really can't trust these guys or the Revengers. They're just waiting to stab you in the back. But really cool stuff.
Now listen. I'm offering you men a chance to get off these gallows alive. Volunteers are needed for a mission which is as dangerous as it is important. And if any of you are willing to volunteer for it, you'll get pardons. That's all I can promise you.
The man, Colonel Pembroke. The army. 7 men on the brink of death, with only one chance to live.
Gentlemen, I can promise you nothing. Except a chance to die honorably. And possibly live. In any case, freedom at the end.
Pembroke could take these men from the hangman's noose into hell. Waiting for these 7 men, an entire garrison, and their power-mad major.
Santa Fe prison camp has confirmed that Pembroke has escaped.
When? About 10 days ago, sir.
The objective? Impregnable to a frontal attack. Impossible to infiltrate.
Once Fort Holman has fallen, the route to the north is open. You can get reinforcements from General Canby. You can take Santa Fe in one day.
The plan? Daring, dangerous, and almost impossible.
Called the Pulpit. Cross the hanging bridge, through the tunnel, into the fort.
You're crazier than Ward himself. It's impossible to reach the pulpit.
It isn't for me. What the hell is going on?
They're attacking the pulpit.
Pembroke.
Reason to live, reason to die, with James Coburn. Telly Savalas.
Now you leave your post. There'll be no time for court martial. Execution on the spot.
And Bud Spencer.
What? It's all over! Come on now! You're finished!
To lead a handful of condemned men on an impossible mission against hopeless odds, a man has to have a reason to live and a reason to die.
Deserves got nothing to do with it.
When you have to shoot, shoot, don't talk.
Okay, the next one, we have the VHS Voyage. I am very sorry, guys. I do not have a copy to show you. It's from 1983. I watched it on YouTube. It is The Black Room. Without giving too much away, I've heard a lot about this movie for years. It is a very strange, I guess, semi-vampire, highly sexual tale. It follows this guy who's kind of, I don't want to call him a swinger, but he kind of is like a promiscuous. He has a wife, and he tells her that these fantasies of his, he tells her fantasies, or tells her that they are fantasies, but in reality, he actually had rented out this black room where he'll take women that he doesn't want his wife to know about and sleep with. The people who run the black room are these brother-sister duo. One is very sick, the brother, he needs blood all the time, so you know where this is going, and they're strange and they're weird, and they're watching him bringing these women, and they're kind of taking photos, and then they'll kind of sneak in and sedate the women and drain their blood. That's the plot of the movie. What's really cool about this movie is that there's a lot of handheld, or maybe it's not even handheld, yeah, it's got to be handheld tracking shots and weird camera angles where the camera will just go around the black room and look at all the candles and stop on strange things. The camera is very weird. I don't know if they're all motivated. They don't seem that's sometimes not motivated, but it's just really getting real weird with the camera, and I can enjoy that almost to an experimental extent. It's very weird. The plot of the movie, like I said, is creepy in a lot of ways. You'll see early roles here from Chris McDonald, from that Shooter McGavin from Happy Gilmore, tons of other stuff, and Leanna Quigley, which is nice to see. 1 year before Return of the Living Dead. Christopher McDonald's pretty good in it, to be honest. I thought he was pretty solid, but it's a very like highly sexualized weird thing where they start to have like this drama between the husband and wife, which I actually really enjoyed. I thought that was actually probably some of the stronger stuff in here. The horror element's not as good as the other element of the bickering like family, and at the end when the kids get involved, it almost seems like they threw that in there. It's just strange how it was like brought in. It's like I don't understand why they're here. Like really, I don't think that's a believable way to get them there. But it is a unique movie, and I think that this all cleaned up. And if we got some interviews with the director, I know she probably has a lot of cool insight on this movie, to be honest. I think it is unique, and I think that I need to see it again, and with some more context I think about it, I think I would actually enjoy it more. It's a very weird one called The Black Room. okay. The pick a movie this week was Beyond the Gates. I can't remember exactly it was who picked it, but yeah. Sometimes I forget because I draw so many names out, but I had this sitting around for a long time. It's from, IFC and Scream Factory. This is the director's first movie. I heard a lot about it on, like, Shockwaves and stuff like that, and it is Jackson Stewart. So, like, I was like, okay, I've heard him on a podcast, I believe, and I was interested in this one, and one of my friends told me I wouldn't like it, and what he said about it, I was like, that doesn't... I love the plot. I love that it's supposedly paying homage to things like, Fulci and The Gate and stuff like that, so I was very interested, and the VHS board game aspect interested me too. Basically, the plot of this movie is two brothers are basically meet up again to close down their dad's video store, pack all the stuff up, and get out of there because their father disappeared for like the 100th time, but he's not coming back. It's been 7 months. They think he's dead. They find this VHS board game, they start to play it, and then they realize this VHS board game, something's wrong. It involves the disappearance of their father, and as the more they play, the more things start to happen around the town, and people die. The tone of this movie is very strange. To me, this movie almost felt like it was like a comedy, but many funny things do not happen in it. Like, it looks like it's going to be a horror comedy. It almost has a setup, and like the way the people are acting sometimes feels like a horror comedy, but it's not funny. There's one character in the movie, the guy who runs this weird occult shop, that is from a different movie. He's like playing in like a over-the-top play, and he's goofy. Doesn't feel like he belongs in this movie, which is very strange to me. But, he's not bad. It's just he's not in the right movie. And he's just such on a different level than the other actors. Not saying that he's better or worse. He's just different. And, this has a bunch of familiar faces in here. The guy from John Dies at the end, who's really good in that, Chase Williams. And then it has Graham Skipper, who's in other stuff like The Mind's Eye, which I thought he really did a good job. Brea Grant. So it's got familiar faces in the underground, not in the underground, but like indie or horror scene. So, and Barbara Crampton is the videotape hostess. So, like, I was like, the setup is kind of cool, but the first 40 minutes, it's a slow burn that feels like it's trying to be, it feels like it's a horror comedy, but it's not a horror comedy at the same time. And there's some moments that are supposed to be scary, and the atmosphere, they put fog and a lot of crazy lighting techniques in there, but it never feels like the atmosphere fully forms for me, which it's kind of a weak point here. But what I do like about it is when they do have the gore, it is plentiful, it is nasty, it is over the top, it is supposed to be. It's kind of like splattery, and I like that. And at the end, it does pick up the pace a bit, but there's no characters I really attached to. I didn't feel like the drama hit hard enough because this is a very kind of a heavy subject matter with the brother relationship and the lost father and stuff like that. I feel like it doesn't hit as hard as I would like it to hit. I feel like it's not as scary or as funny as it. I know it's not even supposed to be. I can't tell if this is supposed to be a horror comedy or not. Like, that's a problem for me. Like, and so maybe it's just my terrible misinterpretation of the movie, but it just didn't all around work for me. I thought like some of the stuff at the end looked great, and like the music was top notch and stuff like that. The setup was cool. I don't hate it. It's just not perfect for me, and I didn't really. Barbara Crampton I love. I feel like she was just a little wasted in it. But there's a fake like a promo for the game on here, which I really enjoyed seeing more than the actual movie. There's a Q&A with the cast and crew, which I like, moderated by Stuart Gordon. That was cool, and there's a little behind the scenes featurette. There's 3 commentaries which I did get a chance to look into, but I actually really kind of enjoyed seeing some of the stuff on the disc more than the movie itself. But I think if some people might like this stuff, so check it out.
Hey, what if he's okay?
What do you mean?
I mean, not dead.
It's been 7 months. If he's out there, it's not our problem anymore.
Look at this place. Your dad really did a good job keeping it up, huh? Yeah, well, not much could pull him out of here.
Do you have Dad's keys to the office?
What do you think's back there?
Guess we'll find out.
This is momentous.
Shut up.
Welcome, curious viewers.
We found this like weird, probably banned VCR game. It's like a board game, but you gotta watch it.
Obtaining the 4 keys allows passage beyond the gates. Only there can your father's soul be saved.
Did you just hear that?
Where did you say you found this again?
Hey, did you try to get into the house last night?
Why? Did someone try and break in?
I felt like somebody was watching us.
Look, maybe you need to take a break from this for a while.
We think our father bought this from your store. What if we just stopped?
I'm not gonna stop until we find Dad. And I suggest you play the game.
Where the hell did this come from?
Find your father. Take the final key. And become one with your new reality.
That lady was smoking hot. I think I want it.
Sure is now.
Okay, guys, let's do the pick a movie here. I think Frank Eastine or something like that. I know the name very well on always commenting, but he picked End of the Line, which I do have, so I'll be checking out. If you ever want to enter the pick a movie, just leave a comment on the YouTube or the Screaming Toilet or send me a message and let me know. I'll enter you. You don't need to re-enter unless your name is drawn. You'll stay in the bag until you're drawn, so don't re-enter until you're drawn. Who is coming out this time? We have Michael Woodward. There we go. Seeing some new names in the bag, getting drawn, really cool. Let me know what you want me to watch, and I'll get right on it. Let's hop into the Q&A. M. Brown 80, if you could suggest 5 films from the past 10 years that every horror fan must see, especially for those who aren't really hip to the more recent genre films, what would they be? I couldn't pick 5. I just did this right off the top of my head. Not off the top of my head. I mean, I went down and looked at lists from movies from 2008 to 2018, horror movies. So some of the more independent stuff might be missing, but I just didn't have time to like really go in depth because sometimes that time range for me like bleeds together. I'd be giving you stuff from 2004, not even realizing it's from 2004. But just some ones that it's a wide range from mainstream to low budget to goofy to serious to extreme to not. Dance of the Dead, Dead Girl, Gutter Balls, Cabin Fever 2. I actually like that one. Tony, Rubber, Chillerama, Human Centipede 2, The Battery, Cabin in the Woods, Excision, John Dies at the End, The Maniac Remake, The Demon's Rook, VHS 2, The Canal, Be My Cat, A Film for Anne, Deathgasm, The Final Girls, Krampus, The Eyes of My Mother, Train to Busan, The Evil Within, Cella Turcica. That's just a bunch of movies from that time frame that I think that somebody might actually enjoy checking out. So hopefully that answered it. Had you seen the other 2 films in the Boss? Other question. Boss trilogy. Picture quality isn't really the best on those 2, but worth the haul. No, I never have seen the other 2. He's talking about I reviewed Boss last week. I know it's The Legend of N-Word Charlie, and there's another one too with Fred Williamson. I'd like to see him, but I hold out a lot of times if I haven't seen anything for so long that I heard of. I hold out for like a Blu-ray or something like that. So no, I haven't seen him. Nick Mua, are there any American legend myths that haven't been featured in a movie but should? I know Wendigo and Sasquatch, the Jersey Devil have been featured numerous times. Yes, they have. I think you would have to go like to small towns. I think that's where you would find the scary things. Like go to like these tiny towns because every small town has a legend. And just ask the locals about them. Stuff that not everybody knows. That's not easily discoverable on the internet. Like we had in Toledo or area, Maumee, there was like this haunted orphanage that they tore down. And it was supposedly all haunted and creepy and stuff like that. Just go to local, I'm from Toledo, so go to local places, smaller than Toledo even, and ask around. I bet you'll find lots of creepy stories that could be adapted very well, which would be really cool. Something that puzzles me about the U.S. is mob mentality concerning movies, i.e. Spielberg made Close Encounters and E.T. films about cute aliens, so now all movies about aliens should be sweet. And Carpenter's Thing was not well liked. How do you feel about said mentality? There is a thing like that where I think it's mostly like a lot of producers' faults too. Like we have this thing where okay, aliens are cute now, so when something that's not cute, aliens, comes out, people hate it. I don't know, but I was talking about The Thing the other day. I remember, I know it wasn't well-liked when it came out, but I didn't know about that. I was very young when I saw The Thing. It was on the Sci-Fi Channel. I was probably 10 or something like that, and I just watched it, and I was like, or even younger, and I just thought it was cool. I didn't love it necessarily, and I kept watching it when it come on, and then I eventually rented it, saw the uncut, and I was like, man, this movie's great, and I just loved it. And then not until the internet days did I realize that The Thing was never a pop. I didn't even realize that then. I just always assumed The Thing was a hit, and everybody loved it, because everybody I talked to that had seen it liked it. that was especially my age group. I didn't know about the thing being like a bomb. I just thought it was a known classic until I got older, and I was like, now it's a classic, but I guess it like legitimately earned its spot by just being good. There's like movies that are blockbusters that everybody just assumes they're classics and they don't rewatch for 30 years, and when they do rewatch them, like, that's garbage. And then we have something like The Thing that just sat on a shelf for 30 years, and then eventually people started watching it again. Or no, it had its fans, but it didn't really gain that momentum, I guess, until later. But I love The Thing, and I think that like a lot of producers will see something do well. You always hear those stories where it's like back in the day when they were making Hellraiser, and like they wanted to remake Hellraiser, and then Final Destination come out. You always hear those stories where they make it more like that, but it's like, it's not like that. That's just so annoying. By the time this comes out, there'll be something else that you want it to be, like, you moron. Don't you catch on? No. It's just like, it's dumb. It's just so stupid. And mob mentality, I don't necessarily think that mob mentality is the term you're looking for when you talk about E.T. and Close Encounters. It's not like a mob mentality. It's what the people have been used to, so maybe something like a little different they're not used to, like, seeing. So, but I hate mob mentality in general. You see it everywhere. Like, it's so easy to watch. Like, oh, you see it anywhere on the internet now. It drives me crazy. So when I start seeing mob mentality, I kind of just like, I'm out of this. I'm not getting involved. Where do you prefer to, hopefully that kind of answered your question. Where do you prefer to watch your movies? The cinema, at home? If at home, do you prefer DVD, Blu-ray, or VOD? I always prefer Blu-ray when I'm at home. But I do like going to the cinema, but it can be a hassle. And there's other people there, or something's wrong with the screen. It's always something. I actually prefer to watch them at home now, to be honest. Tempo Tapos. In both its themes and visuals, Tideland really reminded me of The Reflecting Skin, which you reviewed a few years ago. Did you notice any similarities? When you bring that up, yes, I do. They're both kind of... I'd say Reflecting Skin is more horror, but I would say they both have horror aspects. I would say that they're both stories told through the eyes of children that are completely manipulated by them to show you a world that is completely weird and not correct. Although Skin is very dark and different, but they talk about things in Skin like the Reflecting Skin itself, that they said his skin was all silvery and shiny when his brother tells him that story, and it's almost like he has like a fantasy intrigue to it, but when I hear it, I'm repulsed and disgusted, and all sorts of things like that, like the kids going to see the dead babies in that movie, if I remember correctly, and they're just like fascinated by it, and it's just like so morbid to the adult viewer, but that's strange. They are very similar in a lot of ways, but I would say that Thailand is shot in a brighter way. It looks brighter. It may not be, it may be just as dark, but not as horror oriented. But I think that Reflecting Skin has more of a visual flair that makes it look darker too, on top of that. But there is some similarities to that. I'd really like to rewatch Reflecting Skin. I got that steel book from Zavia a few years back, or a couple years back. So, yep. Sorry about that, guys. Somebody wanted me to show them the Shriek Show box sets, so I will show you those right here. Okay, somebody asked me to show the Shriek Show box sets. I'm back. I'm going to show them. I'm not going to be showing the Rare Flicks box sets, or like the the Midnight Movies box sets, or the Guilty Pleasures box sets. All pretty much the same company, Media Blasters. I'm going to be very quick with these. This is the the Cannibal Lunchbox set. This came with Warlock Moon, which was released on Blu-ray. Man from Deep River, it's been released on Blu-ray, and Blood Feast 2, but I don't think it's the unrated director's cut. So yeah, these are all individual releases, just the typical Shriek Show stuff on the sides. I'm not going to take them out. That's just going to be a lot of work. But hopefully, geez, sorry. But there you go. I would recommend checking out Man from Deep River on there. Then we have the Demons set, which has The Other Hell, which was on Blu-ray, Demons 3, The Ogre, or that's just Demons 3, yeah, The Ogre, and Black Demons on there, both by Bava and Lenzi. Those last two have not been released on Blu-ray. But I know it's a little sloppy, but it's just a little quickie for you guys. This one's the Euro Trash with Bad Inclination, Faceless, and Witchery on there. Again, a lot of these have been re-released and whatnot, so let's see if I can get that wider for you. I'm actually going to move this. That should help a little bit. Sorry about that. But yeah. I love these when they came out. You could get like 3 fun movies for a good price. I don't have the Psycho Killers triple feature, but I have all those releases separate from Shriek Show. So this is the Evil Animals, Day of the Animals, Grizzly, and Devil Dog. That's such a cool release, to be honest. They're all really cool, like I said. Grindhouse Psychos, Cop Killers, Tenement, Don't Go Into the House. I remember picking these up. You could get them for like $15. back when they came out. Pretty cheap. We have High School Horrors. We have Hell High, The Majorettes, and The Hitcher in the Dark. Then we have Jungle Girls, Golden Temple Amazons, Amazonia, and Diamonds of Kilimanjaro. We have, this was always a really good one, Jungle Horrors, Jungle Holocaust, Eaten Alive, and Massacre in Dinosaur Valley. These are all cool movies, actually. Then we have Mutant Monsters, The Dark, The Being, and Creatures of the Abyss. You know what's funny is I have most of these on Blu-ray now. If they've been released, I have all of them, I think. Then we have the Post-Apocalyptic, 2019 After the Fall of New York, 1990 Bronx Warriors, and The New Barbarians. Are these all Ennio G. Coscarelli movies? Probably. But cool. Then we have another one, Vampires triple feature, Central Park Drifter. What is this, the other one? Fiancé of Dracula and Two Orphan Vampires. That was one of the last ones I got, and the box I got it in was just beat the crap. Then we have Wicked Women, Nightmares Come at Night, Flesh of the Beast, and Werewolf Woman. Then this one was a cool one, the British horror quadruple feature, Frightmare, House of Whipcord, The Flesh and Blood Show, and Die Screaming Marianne. This was all Pete Walker movies. Then we have, love these when they came out, the Zombie Pack. What was on here? Zombie 3, Zombie 4, and Zombie 5, Killing Birds. So, cool stuff. And then we have Zombie Pack 2. This is a good one too. Burial Ground, Flesh Eater, and Zombie Holocaust. And last was this Pickup Media Pack, which had, what was on here? I don't remember. It was just Pickup. It was like 2 DVDs, 1 audiobook, so had a bunch of stuff. But yeah, hope you enjoyed that. If you guys ever want me to show like another company's collection, I can probably manage to do some of it. If it's a huge one, maybe I won't have time, but back to the video. Okay guys, super short update, only 3 titles, but hopefully mostly quality. We have Wild at Heart from Shout Factory, David Lynch movie, you know, Willem Dafoe, come on. It's been a while since I watched this. The slipcover's a little beat up, which is quite unfortunate, but this was pushed back for a little bit, but yeah. I remember liking this movie. I remember Willem Dafoe being really creepy in it, but he's really good at that anyways. And crazy, crazy headshot. We have, what is this? A Giallo in Venice, which is supposed to be one of the craziest gialli ever made. This is from Ronin Flicks or Scorpion, but I've not seen this. I have the actual, I believe, German Blu-ray, but I'm curious to checking this one out. I love the cover art, by the way. It's really sleazy. And then we have Amazon Hotbox from the director of Frankenstein Created Bikers. This has Elly Church in it, and I know, oops, that's probably not very good, but don't kill me. And I know that Brian Williams was the DP involved in this one and stuff like that. And there's some other people in here, Kelsey from Headless, and a bunch of other people maybe I recognize. I spin it around again, instinct. But let's hop back to the video. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Thank you very much for watching, and you guys have a good one.